Hello, my fellow chatterers and book lovers, and anyone else who's popped in because you're curious, you got a bit lost. Welcome everyone. I'm Chatty and welcome to my channel, Chatty the Mad Chatter, where today I'm going to be chatting madly away about second chance authors. So, through doing my Chatty's challenge, which I will explain to you, there is a video that is going to be coming. I haven't filmed it yet, but I have made peace with the fact that I'm just going to have to refilm all of that, and it's fine. It's going to happen. But basically, I want to catch up on 7 years of fantasy, reading popular fantasy books, according to the Goodreads Choice. According to the Goodreads Choice Awards. So that is my plan. However, from doing that, I've got to read some books where I didn't necessarily enjoy previous work by this author. But to make it more fun, what I thought I'd do is I'd pair them up with an author where I have loved some of their work but want to read more of them. So I've got one that I haven't enjoyed and one that I have enjoyed, and I'm going to read second books from them, and hopefully I will be surprised by the ones I don't like and will continue to love the ones I do. But I thought we'd see. So this is anyone for seconds. Give it another go. Let's see what happens. So the first one I have is Naomi Novik. So I read Uprooted by Naomi Novik and didn't enjoy it. I did want to read Spinning Silver, which is the one I have here. But I heard lots of people said they enjoyed Spinning Silver, and Uprooted was okay, but not as good as Spinning Silver. I thought, well, I'll start with Uprooted. I read that one and kind of didn't really want to read Spinning Silver because I had such a bad time with Uprooted. I just didn't enjoy the story or the characters. And I'm sure the writing was very pretty, but I was so annoyed by the characters and I felt like we were meandering and I just did not enjoy myself. The positive is I have heard from a lot of people that they much preferred this one. And I know that Talia from Bandana Book Mum read this first and really enjoyed it and then read Uprooted and didn't. And also Derri from Derri's Read It Before, I know really enjoyed this book, and Derri, my hob guru, I really trust her choices. So I'm hopeful that this will be a better match for me. So even though I feel I've been burnt by Naomi Novik, the popular author, I feel Spinning Silver might stand a better chance. I don't have any interest in reading her Deadly Education series. It's not something that's calling to me at all, but Spinning Silver I'm hopeful I will enjoy. And I'm going to pair it with The Girl Who Speaks Bear. So Sophie Anderson, I absolutely loved The House with Chicken Legs. One of my favourite books. It was just such a beautiful story, so incredibly told, and it was wonderful. This is Sophie Anderson's second novel, and both of these are kind of wintry settings, polar fantasy, Slavic folklore. So I'm really looking forward to definitely reading this one and hoping to be surprised by this one. So that's the first pairing. The next ones I have, I don't have a copy of this book, but it is Leigh Bardugo. To be fair, this is the one that I'm least concerned by, maybe. I read her original Grisha trilogy. Shadow and Bone, I think. Shadow and Bone. I'm pretty sure it's called Shadow and Bone, but I'll put it fully in the description. And it was fine. It was I enjoyed Shadow and Bone, despite the amazing character of Nikolai. Really struggled with Siege and Storm, and surprised myself by enjoying Ruin and Rising more than I thought I was going to because of my experience with Siege and Storm. But it's not a series that I felt any inclination to reread or to want to own the books myself. So I was very delighted I chose to get them from the library because they're very pretty, and I was considering, I do like the new covers for them and buying them, but I didn't. But I I might pick up Six of Crows from her, but the one that I'm focused on that kind of fits with the Chatties Challenge, the one that she's most celebrated for, and at the moment everyone is so excited because there's a new book out, and that is Ninth House. Now, Ninth House is a dark academia, which is not something that I gravitate towards. So for this one, it's not so much about the author, who is fine. I think it'd probably be just an enjoyable book that I would read, but I'm slightly apprehensive about reading dark academia. I don't know if it's going to be for me. But I'm pairing Leigh Bardugo with an author that I love, which is P. Djeli Clark. So the reason I'm pairing these two together is because I'm going to read kind of like different genres from them, different subgenres. So with Leigh Bardugo, she wrote the Grishaverse, which is kind of based loosely on historical Russia. And P. Djeli Clark was inspired by the early 1900s Cairo. So he's kind of got a historical setting for his sort of steampunk Dead Djinn universe. But both of the books I want to read from both of them are completely different. So Leigh Bardugo is now going to be writing present day dark academia, so that's very, very different. And the book I want to read by P. Djeli Clark is completely different. It is sci-fi. I want to read The Black God's Drums. So I'm keen to see how I feel about them both writing different genres. So Leigh Bardugo, I'm not really too fussed about Grishaverse, and P. Djeli Clark, I love the Dead Djinn universe. So I read Dead Djinn in Cairo on the internet, and then I read The Haunting of Tramcar 015, and then his novel Master of Djinn, all set in this kind of universe where it's Djinn are alive and part of the world, but we also have our main character who's kind of like a supernatural police force, and I just found it so delightful. I loved the world building, I loved the characters, and I just loved all of that. So I'm keen to read more from P. Djeli Clark, and yes, so I'm going to be trying his sci-fi The Black God's Drums, which I'm very excited about. Again, it's like a small one, it's a novella, but I hear such good things from people about it. I do hear really good things about Ninth House as well, so I could be surprised. I might find that I do actually vibe with dark academia, and then a whole door will open up towards me. So we will see. We will see how that one goes. So I'm slightly apprehensive, but we're gonna try. So both Spinning Silver and Ninth House are part of this list as part of my Chatties Challenge. The final one I have to talk about is I have not been getting on with Sarah J. Maas. I know she's quite a divisive author. I think you either love her or hate her. Well, her work, not her personally, because why would you? We don't know her. But her work. So I think it's either for you or it's not for you. I had not read any fantasy romance until I picked up A Court. I know the acronym. I know it's ACOTAR. What was the actual book called? A Court of Thorns and Roses. So until I picked that one up, I hadn't read any. And weirdly, like that one, I was kind of okay with. It was like I was here for the ride. It was fine. But I really struggled with everyone's favourite, A Court of Mist and Fury. And just so many things that I could not get on board with. I'm just like, I found myself rolling my eyes as everyone vomited their tragic backstories at Feyre, who was really annoying, and I don't know if I'm supposed to like her sisters or not, or Sarah J. Maas was trying to do too much work to make me think well of some characters and badly of others. And like, I just don't appreciate being hit on the head with it. Like, can you just let me make up my own mind how I feel about it? So I really struggled with ACOMAF. I am going to be continuing. There's a tiny part of me that kind of enjoys the prospect of a rant read and just seeing where this goes, and if I continue to find it ludicrous or if it completely surprises me and I enjoy it. But this is not the book I'm going to be reading. I'm not going to be reading ACOTAR. There is another book, of course, because it's Sarah J. Maas, so of course she's going to be on the Goodreads Choice Awards a lot. So this is not actually on there. So the book I need to read is Court of Silver Flames, because that is the book in the 7 years of fantasy, that is on my list of 35 books that I want to read. But to get there, I kind of have to read the others so I know what on earth is happening. To give you my full thoughts and opinions and have the receipts to be able to say, well, I think this. But there's another one on there. So I am actually going to be reading her other series. Well, she's got 2 others. I'm going to be reading The Crescent City, first book. I'm going to try A House of Earth and Blood, which is intimidating because it's 750 pages, I think. It's around there. It's between 700 and 800 pages. It's mahoosive. It's a mahoosive book. And yeah, but I want to read it so I can give my opinion on it. So that for this Chatties challenge that I had this plan for before my camera failed me. Sorry, I needed some tea. Yes. What thoughts did I have in my head when I started rambling? Anyway, I need to read House of Blood and, oh, goodness sake, the Crescent City book. You know, it's got a red cover, the first one, the first Crescent City. I find the titles very confusing. I need to read that book so that I can give my opinions on whether I feel it deserved the place it got or whether I feel other ones were more deserving, in my opinion. So I'm very apprehensive because we don't vibe. But maybe this would be different because it is moving away from a different genre. Well, subgenre. It's all fantasy. Subgenre. And I'm going to be pairing her with one of my favourite authors that I discovered this year, who is the amazing Zen Cho. I love Zen Cho. I love these books. These are beautiful. They're amazing. They're hilarious. So I love comedy of manners. I love sort of like social commentary. I love especially kind of the Regency period with all the witticisms. And this is comedy of manners, but so it's kind of like Jane Austen with fairies and characters that are one of our protagonists is of African heritage and one of our protagonists is of Indian heritage, and so of course there is racism abounding, and our main character just puts those people in their place and she does not give a damn, and I love her for it. I love how wonderful she is. She's one of my favourite characters. Different main character in The True Queen, but still just as enjoyable, but in a different way. I think this one's still my favourite just because I love Prunella so much. She is in this one and she's just as delightful, but she's more of a secondary character in this one. But anyway, love Zen Cho. I love Zen Cho so much. So both Zen Cho and Mass wrote books about fairies. So there we go. We have fae in both of these books. That's why I'm linking these two together. But both are going in a different direction. So the next book by Zen Cho that I want to read is this novella, The Order of the Pure Moon Reflected in Water. So this is not a fae book. I'm not entirely sure what it is. It doesn't give us a huge amount to go on. Pardon me. We have a bandit walks into a coffee house and it all goes downhill from there. So I'm hoping it's got her like sense of fun in it, but I'm not expecting it to be the social comedy that I had with the Sorcerer Royale duology. It's very different. It has a very different vibe. Look at the front cover. It's beautiful. We've got this amazing kind of like gold moon. We've got the lotus flower. We've got this kind of like, it sort of looks sort of Buddhist monk-esque. And then we've got sort of a martial arts character with a samurai sword here. So I think it's going to be sort of more leaning in that kind of confrontational aspect. There could be, I believe there might be thieves in here. I'm not entirely sure what this book is about, but I really hope to continue to enjoy Zen Cho's writing. So it's going to feel very, very different. And Sarah J. Maas's Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood is an urban fantasy, and I think it has kind of more of like paranormal characters in it rather than fae, so we will see what happens. So both slightly different genres in fantasy, so that's why I'm pairing those two together. So that is my plan, to see how I feel about these authors when I'm reading something completely different by them, both ones that I previously did not gel with and ones that I really, really love. So I am just going to be doing kind of like a segmented vlog of my journey with all of this. So I'm going to be kind of like reading the two books together. So I'll give you my thoughts on sort of like the opening chapters of the first pairing, second pairing and third pairing when I do them, and kind of my thoughts on halfway and wrapping up, maybe just initial thoughts as I read the first chapter and then the wrap up. I don't know. We will find out. So that is my plan, and we will see what happens. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any opinions on this concept, have you done something similar before? How did you find it? 2, these authors and these books, I would love to hear about it, because you know I love a chat. And if you fancy giving the little thumbs up, a like, that would be really lovely, because it just makes me feel appreciated, and it's always nice to feel appreciated. And if you enjoyed the vibe, why not subscribe? Thank you so much. Happy reading, everyone.